know who it is, man. It's 1D8 to the motherfucking NA, man. Never give up on your dreams, no matter what they say, no matter how much they hate, no matter how much they take.
Industry Ready Production, PSBeats.com. Make your purchase now.
When I'm on top, I won't quit. No, not me, cause giving up is not in me, cause I'm in the winning. I'm in the winning.
What's up, good people? It's your girl, Miss Sanchez. Coming to you live with Miss Sanchez Has Something to Say. That's right, we're here in the studio with Miss the Beautiful, Miss Irene Kate. Thank you for inviting me to your meet and greet.
Thank you for having.
And for those of you who don't know, she is running for District 7. That's right, for Pinellas County School Board. So make sure you get out and vote on August 26th. That's right, August 26th. Vote for Irene Kate, good people. That's right. Would you like to just give us a little brief synopsis of who you are and a little intro to the people?
Well, I am a young, tenacious, outgoing, upbeat person with integrity who wants to lead our children into the next stages of their life. And I would like to be your representative for Pinellas County School Board, District 7. So please come on out, vote for me on August 26th. No debate, vote Kate if you are for Creative Americans Teaching Educational Strategies. Kate.
That's right, you heard it here first, good people. Vote for Miss Irene Kate August 26th. I love you always. This is Miss Sanchez. Make sure you always tune in when Miss Sanchez has something to say. You can contact me or my team at Miss Sanchez, hs2s@gmail.com or changecomes2012@gmail.com. Love you always, love Muppets.
I'm going to start off by thanking everyone for coming out. And I'm going to give you a little backlog about Irene and where I come from, what I stand for, and where I'm going. I am a 30-year-old native of St. Petersburg, Florida. I grew up in a home of 8 siblings. I'm the middle child, as well as raised by both of my parents, Irene Cates and Anthony Cates. I graduated from Boca Ciega High School. My middle school years were spent at Azalea Middle, and my elementary was at North Shore Elementary. So I was very contained as far as school, as the school system goes. I didn't bounce around to many different schools. After graduating from Boca Ciega, I moved on to go to SPC, which is a staple in St. Petersburg. I went for business management. I moved from there to kind of, I don't know, explore my talents in cooking. I graduated from Le Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts in Orlando, Florida. I have an associate's in science degree, as well as I'm a part of the National Federation of Chefs. I was a part of the National Honor Society, as well as a lot of other programs that they offered at the school. After my schooling in Orlando, I moved on to, I did a little traveling, a little exploring, and I opened up well, I wouldn't say I did it by myself. My brother and I started a non-profit organization by the name of Kate's Enterprises Movement Change. It's a 501c4 organization that's built around the social welfare of the children in the community. We focus on things like homelessness, literacy, and trying to create self-sustaining citizens. From there, I actually worked on Anthony's campaign. He was a former candidate for St. Petersburg. He ran for the mayor of St. Petersburg in 2013. So I was his campaign manager, and he returned the favor, as we heard. Now he's my campaign manager, and hopefully I'll be his campaign manager again. So it's a very interesting road that has led me up to this point. I have always been interested in education. Right now I sit on the board of SUAC, and that's the Sustainable Urban Agriculture Coalition. And what that is the organization that goes around the urban areas in St. Petersburg, and they implement a garden program. It is a Healthy Start program, which actually ties into my agenda for the school board. I want to implement school gardens in every school, throughout Pinellas County, because as we all know, a healthy body equates to a healthy mind. On top of being a part of SUAC, I also am the president of the St. Pete Business League. It's an organization built around solidifying small businesses' economic standings in the community. So I have my hands in a lot of endeavors, and it all goes back to trying to uplift us as people from being proactive and not reactive. So going into my platform for the school board and what I would like to have implemented once I take office, and remember, go out and vote August 26th. So once I take office, I plan to implement a multifaceted program that will be innovative, aggressive, and straight to the point. I don't like beating around the bushes. What you see is what you get. And when dealing with our children, we don't have time to play around. So this program will include, yet definitely not limited to, programs focusing on the health of our children, literacy programs, and when I say literacy, I mean family literacy, something that's going to attack the beast in its den. We are facing a big issue of having our children moving on to the 4th grade, but yet not reading at a 3rd grade level. And this is not only plaguing us in District 7, this is plaguing us everywhere throughout Pinellas County and throughout the world. And we know when we're having literacy problems, we also come to realize that it's a lot of other problems that are associated with literacy. It's comprehension problems, we have cognitive issues, and it just circles around our children's development. So we have to come up with strategies that will help them and engage with them and learning better study techniques. So it's all of which leads me to my next point, child-parent engagement. We have to start engaging the family into our children's education. That is a very vital piece of our children being recognized in commerce, because if the parents are not involved, the child is less prone to want to pick up on what's going on in school because they know their parents don't really care about what's going on. And not so that they don't care. We have a lot of parents, since the economic crash in 2008 and recession took place, a lot of parents have 2 and 3 jobs and they can't be around at every given time and at every given moment. So we have to somewhat coddle our parents who have those issues and can't be into the school system, rather it be on any different level, rather it be from a judicial standpoint as to why they can't come to the schools and be in hands-on with their children's education. We have to have programs that will bring our mentors out, that will bring after-school care, before-school care, and bring those people inside that actually want to be part of the education system and helping our children out. I would also like to say that in doing these things, we have to remember that these are implementations that don't cost a lot of money. These are implementations that won't be a financial burden to our school system. With my school garden program that I introduced, I plan to use that produce and things that we produce within the garden to have the children eat at lunch. And if they're eating what they're producing, then any residual foods, why not open up some sort of fruit stand, some sort of business that will teach the children how to be producers and not consumers. This is a big problem that we have in our society today, that we are such a consumeristic a consumeristic people, we forget about producing, and in order to be viable in commerce, we have to know how to produce. We have to know how to be producers and not just consumers. So that's the spew on my platform, and I would just really encourage us as people with voices. If you want your voice heard, you must stand up and stand for something, or you'll fall for it all. So is there, I don't know, am I going too fast? Sometimes I run on. I have to pull myself back.
Then you stop and ask for questions.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Does anyone have any questions or any concerns or anything that you would like to see implemented within the school board that you don't see already? Anything? I know we have a educator in the building.
Academy.
Yes.
It's a school designed to, it's a learning center, and it's designed to help students in high school, actually 9th through 12th grade. And because I'm concerned about kids, not passing the FCAT, they're not eligible to play sports, they forfeit their athletic scholarships.
Yes.
I want to increase their GPA, things like that, just offer plain homework help. But the trend right now is the Common Core. And if our children, African American children, black children, are not able to keep up now with the FCAT, the Common Core, I guess, platform is even more rigorous. And so what are your strategies to help, you mentioned the child-parent engagement, so help parents transition to meet those new standards that are, I guess, on the way or being implemented right now?
Yes, Common Core, which is a very touchy subject, yet it is a topic that should be addressed as soon as possible. My thoughts on it, I feel as though Common Core was introduced prematurely. We did not have any rigorous pilot programs that would test it on a smaller group of people to see if the implementation would actually help our children or hinder our children. On the same lines as Common Core, which another test, FCAT, which we face, and with FCAT, I am not in favor of FCAT for a couple of reasons. The first and foremost is FCAT is a test that is full of inference questions. And if we all know inference questions, they infer something. You have to refer back to something. And when you are inferring to something, what do our children have to look to? We know what we know what surrounds us. And that is not what is particularly on the question answers in the FCAT. So we have to balance it out. It has to be some type of even balance. The testing system should not solidify what it should be, rather our children should pass or fail, because as we know, children are very smart in their own special ways, and to just give them a certain test and say, okay, this test right here, this certain day of the year is gonna determine whether you move on to the next grade. What if they're having a bad day that day? What if we have a child who just doesn't do well on testing, yet they're one of the most brightest children ever? So we can't just base our children's future on a test. That can't be possible. I feel as though this test system, it needs to be, if not eradicated from the school system, because we need some type of way to see if our children are progressing. That I am for. It has to be some type of way to monitor their milestones and if they are meeting the requirements. Yet this rigorous test system that they're implementing and saying that if they don't pass the test, then they can't move on to the next grade. I don't agree with that at all. Not even in the least bit do I agree with it. I feel as though we have to all together come up with something collective, because with the testing now, it's more of a money thing. It's more of the state wants to see results. It's all about the almighty dollar when it comes to the testing situation, and it's only hindering our children. So it has to be some type of one-on-one, hands-on program that we can get back to in order to eradicate the Common Core, the FCAT, and any other standardized test that's going to tell us our children have to pass this in order to make it on to the next level. I definitely don't agree with it. And Common Core, it's so many millions of dollars being tanked into this Common Core program, which is backed by the most wealthiest man, one of the most wealthiest men in the world, Bill Gates. It's all of this money that's being tanked into this program can be put into a multitude of other programs that will help bring the family back into the educational system, that will bring the parents in, and it could fund these programs, any type of after school, before school programs that I'm talking about. It's just the money's been allocated to different, to sources that it shouldn't be, and that's just my whole outlook on it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
My name is Barbara Story Love, and I have a question about your announcement. Since you announced that you were running for Pinellas County School Board District 7, what have you done, or have you visited any schools? Have you reached out to any educators or any parents or anyone in the community to share your different views other than this format?
Yes, I have. I've actually been going from school to school, District 7 schools and schools outside of District 7, to speak to the principals, to speak to the teachers, to see what they want implemented into the school board, to see what type of changes they want. And everyone I've spoken with clearly states, and I quote, "We need change. It's time for change." I feel as though I am that change that we need. I am a person who's open-minded, outgoing, upbeat, tenacious, intelligent, and willing to follow by example. I'm not only a leader, which we all know all leaders must be able to follow. I am that person that can step up to the plate and kind of check my ego at the door and do what's best for the greater good of our children, because as we all know, the youth are the future. Without them, we perish. Did that kind of answer your question?
That answers my question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, anything else? Any other questions or something that I didn't cover?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm Cynthia Sanchez, and I would like to know, how can we, people who don't have children,
Yes.
get involved or help with District 7?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. We can all, whether it's a before school program, after school program, YMCA, any youth football teams or anything, if you just put yourself out there on that front line and are in a venue where a child is and you offer that help, whether you see a child running when you know clearly they should be walking, that's putting yourself into the mix and letting them know it's all about leading by example. No matter what platform you're on, if you can offer some type of advice to our youth that will ultimately help them in their future, whether you can see a pothole up ahead and they don't see it and you slow them down, any advice, it doesn't matter. You don't have to wait for a group, you don't have to wait for any certain individuals or any certain forum to help our children. It's always some child in the neighborhood that needs some sort of help. So I wouldn't wait for a specific platform or a specific organization. I mean, just get out there and put yourself on the front lines. It's a war out here, and we have to save our children. Definitely.
And to piggyback off of that, I do know to volunteer in Pinellas County Schools, you have to do a level 2 background check, which is a $40 fee or $50 fee, which is assessed to that to volunteer in the actual Pinellas County Schools
Yes, to
system.
formally volunteer. Thank you, Anthony.
And this I hear about this new test. I am Anthony Cage, former candidate for mayor. This FCAT, there is a new test. What is this new test that I'm hearing about?
Is that you're speaking of the Common Core, which I just...
No, as far as not the FCAT, it's called AIRS, the American Institute of Research Services.
All of these tests are basically affiliated with each other, affiliated with the same state program that we have a million tests. It's not just EARS. We have like 30 of the tests to piggyback off the EARS test. It's just all about something that the state is using to keep track over our children, and it really doesn't have anything to do particularly with their education. It has to do with if we're looking at the real undertone of these inference questions, which I spoke on, it has to do with what neighborhood they're coming from, what's their cultural background. These are the type of questions that they implement into the test so that they can see this and understand where these children are coming from. So it really has nothing to do with the level of their mental capacity. It just has to do with what the state is trying to keep up with on their end. So I'm totally against it. Like I said, I'm not against tracking the milestones of our children, but I'm against these rigorous tests that they put our children through. All year, they drill into our children's head a certain part of a curriculum that they must know for a certain test. Why not open their minds and open their minds to a broader category of education, and not just put them in this little box of what you think they should know to pass a test? Yes, sir.
Just to piggyback what you're saying is that we have to break that cycle of school to prison program. And as you were speaking, this all has emphasis to know, run. And by a certain time, 8th or 9th grade, the system knows how many prisons.
Third grade. Third grade, yes.
They know how many prisons they need to build for the kids coming out.
Coincidentally, the FCAT they must pass in the 3rd grade. That's when they start the FCAT. Exactly.
Yeah.
So please go on.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure, for those who are unaware that this is a moneymaker, and if you want to invest in prisons, you make some money.
Yes. Yes, please. Who was
I just wanted to piggyback off of Dr. Rowe. Because now, for me personally, I think it's even beyond the prison. It's about the voting. Once I get your child in prison with record, I take away their voting rights. And so it's political because the power is in where people, what did you say, sit at the table and make policies. And so I'm passionate about education as well. So I support you, Irene Cates.
Thank you. No debate, vote Kate.
Yeah, I also have a question to ask as well, because I have grants. Oh, my name is Janelle Mitchell, and I'm the owner of Just Be Beautiful, and I definitely support the Cates campaign. So my question is to ask, I have grandkids that's in the school system.
Yes.
And one of my grandkids is in Montessori school, Port. But the question I have to ask is that, I hear this year more so from the teachers saying they have, just covered with meetings, and not really being able to teach the kids. You try to set up an appointment, or you get a reply by maybe 4 weeks.
Yes.
Is there anything that can be addressed in that, or do they have some kind of standard to be able to contact the parent back within instead of 3 to 4 weeks?
Yes, that is, and as you say, they're a Montessori school in Gulfport. Gulfport has a 61% rate of 3rd graders going into the 4th grade, not yet reading at a 3rd grade level. So that tells you that we have a serious problem. And as she just stated from the mouth of someone who has grandkids at a school, the teachers are being bogged down with a million other things besides teaching our children.
Teaching the kids.
And that goes, and that directly stems to these rigorous testing programs as we go to Common Core. Once again, the teachers have to be put in special think tanks, so to speak, in order to learn this new information about these tests. And it takes them to having meetings on top of meetings on top of meetings. So it's taking away from your child education instead of doing exactly what they say they want to do, and that's help the education and make sure every child plateaus at the same level. So it's not adding to, it's a stressor. It's not making a solution. It's actually being part of the problem. So it's all about the implementation of these tests. If we are against these test programs, then you're going to be for the teachers staying in the classroom. because they'll have less meetings to go attend about these new testing programs that they're trying to implement that they really didn't get our insight or they didn't even ask for our feedback on. They just implemented this Common Core without asking for any feedback. They just put it in the school systems. So, yes.
I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
First one is year-round schools.
Yes.
What is your opinion on having year-round schooling?
Yes.
And the second one is something that I didn't realize, that if a parent has a felony, they are not allowed to go on the school grounds. So what kinds of programs would you introduce, or are there already programs in place to help bridge the gap between child and parent with the felony background? And on the year-round schooling, do you think that would help with some of the load on meetings and
Yes.
your opinions, please?
My opinion and my laughter comes from like just me tossing in my head what the children would say about if they could vote right now, because I'm for year-round schooling. I'd be like, no, summer program. I am actually for year-round schooling because education never stops. We have to remember our children must be viable in today's society. It's such a diverse society that's moving and is progressing every second. We have no time to take off for summer and not really focus on our child education, because education is a year-round thing. It's a life thing. It goes on before school, after school. It starts while you're in your mother's womb. That's when education starts. So it's not like we have any time to say, okay, well, our children shouldn't be going to school now. Education is a second by second, minute by minute, day by day, lifelong process. And I feel as though our children, to stay ahead of the game, you have to have schooling at every single aspect and every single turn in life. It has to be a point where our children are learning things. No matter what they're learning, everything in life it ties together. It's a 360. It all leads back to the same thing, and that's survival. So we must always be engaging our children at all times. And the other part of your question dealt with parents who have felonies who want to be engaged in their child's education, yet they can't because of the school, because of terms at the school that won't let them be on the school grounds. I feel as though if you're not facing any type, if you serve your time to society and you paid your dues, and if it's not any type of crime that has a sexual connotation behind it, then you should be able to go back and reintegrate yourself into the school program and be able to be a hands-on, active part of your child's education. Because why do they put you in jail? So you can serve your time for whatever crime you have committed. So if your time is served and you want to re-enter into the school system to be a more solid base for your child and to know what's going on, yes, I'm for getting that parent right back in there. And even with programs that we can partner up with libraries and community centers, that you can be a part of your child's education and have programs that are outside of the school where the parent can come into the community centers and the libraries and things of that nature that could be funded by the Pinellas County school system in order to get our parents involved. Right now we have about 3% of our parents hands-on, actively involved in their child's education throughout the whole Pinellas County school system. That is a big problem for me, 3%. So now you have 90+% of your students, parents, not involved and engaged actively in their child's education. That's a big problem.
And also, I want to say too, when I signed up to volunteer at my granddaughter's school, and unfortunately, the teacher had told me, said, "Well, did you have a background check?" You know, just like to say, okay, you black, and do you have a background check? Okay, so I already have a background check, you know, and it's just like, I don't think that is, they don't really want you. If you're a felony, I'm not no felony, y'all. But I'm just kidding. You know, but I do know people that, you know, and they done served their time, or maybe could have gotten in trouble when they was a youth, and now have a child. And then they want to stop them, you know, from interacting in the schools. And I don't think that's right.
Yes, well, you know what we have to do to eradicate this problem? Step up, make your voices heard, make your vote count, get down there to those school meetings, to the school council meetings, get down there to the school board meetings, get the agenda and know what days we're supposed to be there and what days and what times we're supposed to stand up and speak out and be heard. We have to get out there and make your voices heard. If you don't actively participate in making your voice heard, then you have no voice or no say-so in what's going on. So let's get up, get out, and be heard. It's all about being a part of the solution and not a part of the problem.
What differentiates you from your opponent who goes by Renee? What differentiates you from her?
Well, I'll say this. I have a more hands-on, innovative, aggressive approach. I am a person that I lead by example. I don't just lead by telling you what to do. If I say it should be done, you better believe that I'm out there doing it myself. I'm hitting the pavement, I'm speaking to the people, I'm getting their questions, getting their concerns, and actually trying to implement the things that they want to see done. So I definitely think I am a person that stands up to my word and, you know, are there for the people.
You mentioned that you want to implement gardens. Twofold question. Have you implemented any gardens in any schools within District 7 or the county? And will implementing gardens, will that be costly? Because, you know, everything is about the bottom line.
Yes.
And that was a third question, but maybe by the time you finish answering those two, I'll remember what the third was. I do apologize.
Yes, no problem. Well, first of all, I have been instrumental in implementing school gardens throughout the Pinellas County school system. I've actually been the head programmer of implementing a garden at Elam Academy, and that falls within District 7 on 49th Street. And I am also a member of Sustainable Urban Agriculture Coalition, and that's SUAC. I sit on the board, and that's an organization that can help you help the community and help the school systems understand gardening and why we need it and why the who, what, when, where, and whys of gardening. And that's the organization that's willing to come out and put gardens in at no cost to you. So it's not going to cost the school system any exorbitant amount of money to implement this program, yet it will give back to the school system. It will help cut costs at lunchtime when everyone needs to be fed and we're trying to give them healthy foods. And it will also help our children learn the importance of being a producer and not a consumer, knowing where your food is coming from, knowing how to grow, knowing how to be hands-on and what's going to nourish your body will also help our students mental in the long run.
You know, I hear what you're saying about being more of a producer, not a consumer, but the truth is we are going to have to consume something.
Yes.
But you want this, correct me if I'm wrong, or need to be corrected, you want to make sure that the students who are producers will learn how to take care of something that they own.
Oh, of course, that's always a big part of what we do as a community if we want to help our children. They have to learn ownership, empathy, sympathy, respect. And the way you get those qualities, and as we all know as an adult, your mom and your dad tell you, you know what, in order to know respect and how to have something of your own, you get out there and you start your own business by cutting yards in the summer. You know, so now you know now you know how to respect that dollar that you have, and you won't just go spend it anywhere because you know what, I had to cut 3 yards in order to get this $10. So you're going to manage your money a bit more than just, you know, spending it on anything because it's yours. We're more likely to hold on to something when we know we have stake in it. If I know I have stake in something, then I'm going to think twice before I, you know, step out on the limb. So it definitely builds character, definitely.
Why now? Why run against an incumbent? Why I guess I said, why now? Why run now against the incumbent and not an open seat?
Well, incumbent, open seat, it really doesn't matter. I am running because I'm running for what I believe in, to solidify my base and my standings within the system. It has nothing to do with the incumbent, Renee. It has to do with me and my personal values, my personal standings. She's just the person that so happens to be in the seat. It could have been anyone in the seat and I still would have ran. It has to do with what I feel our children should be learning and how I feel I can get my point across and make my footprint in the sand with our youth.
For the children.
It's
That's
all
why
for the
you're
youth,
running. And when your brother asked that question, you're running for the children.
Yes.
And I got that from this person who advertises commercials on TV 25 times a day. Well, what's the name of it? Y'all know who I'm talking about. The fella comes on, his sons are now being in the commercials where he and his wife used to be.
I know you're talking about.
See, out of sight, out of
forgot
mind.
who they are.
That's why he advertises so much. But for the family, I think he says.
They say for the family.
For the family. For the people, for the people.
Oh, yeah, for the people.
With
So-
the 3 sons
With
and
the
the
3
wife.
sons, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so it might be when somebody asks you, you're running for the children.
Yes.
And that's a catch-all. It's not about her, it's about the children.
Of course.
And even though we're supposed to be focused on that, that might be something you wanna put in your pipe and smoke it when people ask you.
And that's what I said for the children. Yes, it's all for the youth.
What is District 7 like? What
District 7, it encompasses everything south of 54th Street.
And those area codes are?
It encompasses Gulfport. It encompasses South Pasadena, as well as Kenneth City. So it's a very big district. It's a massive district. And it starts from 33701. It goes all the way down to 33726, and then it skips to 337, I believe 33730. I can't think of the rest of them off top, but that's the whole area between the all of Gulfport, you know, Kenneth City, South Pasadena, the Child Spark District, and everything south of 54th Street. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. So do we have any more specific questions, or, you know, we'll just...
Well, just to reiterate the
Yes.
funding program that Ms. Love was speaking of.
Yes?
Okay, I know it seems like an important issue as far as helping become a producer as well as a consumer,
Yes?
because the kids will be producing the vegetables,
Yes.
fruits, whatever, of the program,
Yes.
and then consuming.
Yes.
Okay, sounds like a good idea.
Yes.
It's a good idea, actually. And you mentioned Elam Cap.
Yes.
That's a private school.
Yes, it
Of
is.
course. So how would the public school system implement this into their program?
I'm
Would it
glad you
be-
said
I mean,
that.
as a pilot
Yes,
program?
that's a
or-
good point. And I say this to that point, how would the public school system implement this? We have to understand that gardening and agriculture, that's the bigger headline, agriculture, it has everything to do with what is already being implemented into our school system. Mathematics, English, it has something to do with the social studies. It has something to do with science. What plant is indigenous to this area? Rather it's how deep or how the width of what another plant. It all has to do with what already exists in our school system and what they're already teaching: math, science, language, arts, history. So it's not like it's going to be something very difficult to implement. We can already just put it in alongside the other subjects, and it'll also help get our children outside of the classroom and start with this hands-on approach that I'm speaking on, so the children can actually get out there and get their hands in the dirt and be active in what they're learning. It has something to do with making them want to be a part of what's going on with their education. And that's also going to help them health-wise as far as study, sitting in those desks all day. You know, in your science class, you can go out to the school garden and you can have science right from the school garden about the indigenous plants, about the bug species and the life of the bug species. So you can do that in the school garden, so it wouldn't cost the school anything. And like I said, I'm a part of a program that would be happy to go into the school system and start up school gardens and teach the children how to implement, you know, and how to be a gardener. Agriculture rules the world. Everything has something to do with agriculture, from the clothing we have on right now, to the food we ate before we got here, to the wooden chairs we're sitting in, to that fabric you're sitting on that's leather. It's all agriculture. It can be traced back to agriculture.
Now, it was mentioned that Elam is a private school.
Yes, ma'am.
But even though Elam is a private school, isn't it bound, or Elam Academy bound by the same guidelines as the public schools?
Yes, to a certain extent. To a certain extent, yes. Private and public, they interface. It's always, you're always going to have something. It's going to always have, one has to have something to do with the other. It may not be such as rigorous as being a part of the school system, and it might have more of their own curriculum that they can implement, yet it does have something to do with the public school system. Let's not reinvent the wheel. The program that I want to introduce into the Pinellas County public school system is already been implemented in California. The public gardens program, as to where gardens are in every school throughout a district in California. So it's not like we're reinventing anything, and they have studies that shows this helps with truancy, this helps with parent-child engagement, and it also helps with building the self-esteem of the children, in which we are bound to help once we're in the system. The children are the future, yes.
Now, the gardening program of the schools that you visited since you've announced your candidacy, have you discussed your gardening program with any of the schools that you visited? And if so, what is their reaction?
Yes, I have. University Prep is going to be a main focal point for me with the gardening program. I spoke with I believe it's the 4th grade principal there, and she is very much so open to implementing the garden program and implementing it into the curriculum. And University Prep is newly reopened under new principals, and they're changing the whole structure of University Prep, as well as the Bay Point Elementary. Speaking to the principal there, it's all about wanting the gardening program, yet they don't quite know how to go about getting it implemented and implementing it within the curriculum. So it's just that formal educating them on how it would be a asset to the school children. Yes.
Predominantly black schools.
Yes, I will research that, because I don't have an answer to that. So
I think a lot of people are not aware of that. I had one of my writers do a article on while she was subbing.
Yes.
And this is one of the things that she was able to come up with, that there was, besides the discipline problem, and this is why a lot of, when they go out to recruit Pinellas County and a lot of other counties, they offer the non-black people's what you call, stipends or whatever.
Okay.
Additional income that they will come into.
okay,
Black
minority areas.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we don't have any more questions at this moment, I would like to thank everyone for coming out, and please know www.votecates.com. Any questions or concerns, anything you would like to see implemented, please go to my website, give me your concerns, write them down. I go through my website daily, more than once a day, several times a day, so I'll be able to see your questions and your concerns. www.votecates.com. please go and check us out. And remember, August 26th, make your voice heard. Go out and vote. If you don't vote, you have no complaints about anything. You can't complain about anything if you're not making your voice heard. So on that note, Creative Americans Teaching Educational Strategies, acronym CATES. Thank you.
Campaign, you can leave your money with me, I'm the treasurer. We take all forms of currency, especially if it's an American dollar, to www.cates.com.
Yeah.
www.cates.com.
Yes.
There's a link that you vote Cates 7, where you can go in and make your donation.
Yes, so please don't forget, this is our treasurer, Barbara Sori Love. www.votecates.com. Go in, leave all your donations, and believe you me, it's going for a great cause. Tell your friends, tell your family members, and tell some more people on top of that. www.votecates.com. All of your donations are welcome, and we thank you in advance.
And remember, it's for the children.
Yes.
There's an old school dance. Tickets are $20, and as all donations go towards the Case campaign to get her old school dance right here as well to help get her elected into office.
Yes.
Okay.
And
It'll
that,
be totally transformed. You're not
Yes.
it's gonna be.
No, I didn't say it like that.
June 28th, please go to the website, leave your name if you want to buy tickets. The tickets are $20, $25 at the door, and the theme of the fundraiser is old school. So it's going to be an old school dance. Come out and celebrate with us, and it's all in the sake of helping the children. All the money goes back into the campaign so we can keep on keeping on to help our children.
What
So
time is
please,
it gonna be?
come on out. It's going, the dance starts at 8. It's from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. And once again, it's old school. So it's going to be whatever your old school is, 70s, 60s, 80s, and 90s. Because our old school may not be their old school. So it's going to be a mixture of things going on. So please come out and support the children. Thank you.
And the music will be mixed by DJ Strizzo.
DJ Strizzo, yes. Y'all know DJ Strizzo.
I just keep moving on, even when they don't.